Good evening and welcome to Baldwoodville High School. Have a basketball scrimmage here tonight between the Luck Cardinals and the Baldwoodville Blackhawks. The format of tonight's scrimmage will be 4 10-minute quarters. That I believe will go running clock. Obviously the coaches will have the freedom to stop things and do some coaching. Really just an opportunity to get some run against some guys that are not your teammates, that know what you're trying to do. So Blackhawk TV here. I'm Jeremy Nygaard, joined on the mic by Jordan Lehman.
Hello.
And Zach Ambrose on the camera. So we'll get going here shortly. The scoreboards will be on, but I think it will be just for the clock. And because it's a scrimmage, there won't be any score kept. What we're going to try to do, since there's no rosters, is just give you an idea of who you're watching. We don't have a roster for Luck. So if you're a Luck parent and you or a Luck fan and you happen to be watching the scrimmage and you want to say anything, you can leave it in the chats. We recognize a couple of guys just obviously because we've played them, but for the most part don't know who they are. The guys that we're pretty familiar with are all wearing masks and look a little bit older than we last saw them in March. So we'll do our best to keep you informed of what's going on. And for the upcoming week, we'll be going to Ellsworth on Thursday night for wrestling and back to Ellsworth on Friday night for girls basketball. So that's the plan here, and looks like we'll be getting started here soon.
Looks like I see a Jensen down there.
Yep, I believe that's Wyatt, right?
Yep.
And he doesn't have a number.
And they should have one other returning.
Yeah, Carson Ely's number 15. He's their point guard.
Okay. Ely's been part of 2 very, very successful teams.
Right next to your mask there, Lehman.
Ely's been a part of 2. Did they win 20 games 2 years ago? They won 21 last year.
I'm not sure. I know that they were still playing, right, when
yeah, they were in the sectional final.
And they did lose. They lost a ton of dudes.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see. Right now they only got 4. Let's give it a 5th. They got 4 again.
I recognize 12.
12 I think played a little bit. So on the court for the Blackhawks here, number 8 with his back to you is Sam Hush, Dylan Caro, Eli Coonan, Cameron Thompson, Keegan Ostie.
Look for some intense defense here. Got some great defenders. Keegan Ostie, Cam Thompson, both last year proved to be very intense defenders. Dylan Caro should use his length.
We're underway here tonight. That's Carson Ely.
That looks a crafty move by a senior.
So he's played. I think he's played varsity his whole career. Just looking at his stats, he's got a decent shot. You know, if we play a full season to get 1,000 for his career, which is impressive considering that Luck had 2 really, really big scorers graduate that he got to play alongside. So it's Cam with the ball, Keegan on the top, Sam Hush. Eli Coonan from deep. So one of the steal there by Cam. Up ahead to Sam. Good basket, Sam.
Good finish by Sam. Keegan guarding Ely at the moment. Cam on Jensen.
Good take to the basket there by Carson Neely. Gets a bucket. Blackhawks get the ball up the floor quickly. Dylan Caro in transition.
Ely averaged just over 10 points a game last year. Dylan Caro just under 10 points a game. Dylan's worked really hard, not only on basketball, but just on his physicality, strength, quickness. It's going to be fun watching him play this year.
So going to get Cam on a reach there. We're not going to keep personal fouls or team fouls. I'm assuming they'll probably shoot free throws on shooting fouls, but who knows about that.
Good box out there by Eli Kunin. It's a good look by Dylan Caro. Cam Thompson guarding the ball. Cam's a guy that fully expects to be able to guard any player he plays against, and he should. He's a great defender. He's worked extremely hard as well.
I'm getting texts that there's people that are seeing a dark bottom on the screen. I don't know what that's about. I'm watching the stream and it's looks fine to me, so I would just say hit refresh.
Cam Thompson from 3 last possession for the Hawks. Looks like we got a fresh 5 here for the Hawks.
So the 5 coming in here for the Hawks will be 52 Clay Lorenz, numberless Colin Fritz, number 20 Caleb Locker, another number 20 Isaiah Randall, and 21 Logan Feedy. So 2 sophomores, a junior, a sophomore. No, excuse me, two juniors, 2 seniors, and a freshman.
Good look for Fritz. Good recover. It's a good recover there by Fritz. Gonna stay down.
Good hands by Caleb. We're going to run the floor here.
It's a good choice by Caleb.
Good take by Colin for a bucket. So it sounds like refreshing or exiting and getting back into the stream makes the black ring go away. I don't know what that looks like. My stream has been fine.
Good find by Fritz. Having Coach Colin this fall in football, he's a kid that he's worked extremely hard to get to where he is, but he's got a lot of talent. But most importantly and most enjoyably as a coach, he's one of the most coachable kids. He loves the game, whether it's football, basketball. I'm sure he plays baseball. He just loves sports. He loves to compete.
Oh, had an opportunity for a turnover there and just lost the handle.
Wyatt Jensen is going to be a guy this year that uses his strength. You can see it if you're watching.
And so Wyatt Jensen's the unnumbered luck player here with the black mask.
if Nygaard already touched on his older brother, but he comes from a long line. His older brother, Levi Jensen, was an excellent multi-sport athlete at Luck.
So I feel like he is a college baseball player.
I think I heard that. I think that baseball might have been one of his betters. I mean, if not his best sport.
Yeah, so he ran for like 430 yards in the 8-man state championship game his senior year.
Right.
Or was his junior year? His senior year.
Last year he averaged 20 points a game. Talking about Levi, who graduated.
And their other very good player was Gage Johansson, who's a cousin of the Baldwin Woodville Johanssons. Jackson's a freshman playing in the other gym. Caleb Locker for 3, just short.
Good hands by Caleb Locker. That's a tough bucket by Carson Ely. Good take.
Shuffled her feet.
Pivot foot move there. It's good to see Isaiah being able to compete. He had an up and down football season simply because of injury, so it's good to see his body looking like it's back to 100%.
Yeah, I'm glad he came out.
Absolutely. Great athlete, even better kid.
I'd say he'd probably sum his fall up as a frustrating fall.
Right.
Good look. Make a move, Clay. There you go.
Clay played a lot of minutes last year on JV. Rarely came off the floor, so he's obviously playing football this fall. Got him in pretty good shape, but he's a kid that can play forever. Same with Caleb Blocker, Iron Man.
They didn't play a ton of minutes with masks on, so that's going to be the elephant in the room.
Right. Good forward by Isaiah. Ooh.
Get up and got it. Yeah, that's a good call. So Isaiah went up and got it and got pushed a little bit. Could have been called a travel, but they rightfully got the fall call.
Stack baseline.
We're going to see the top 2 guys split. The third guy come down to the block and the fourth guy drop back.
Something of that nature.
Yep.
Now looking to post.
Knock it down.
Good in and out.
So there's about 50 seconds here left in the opening quarter of this scrimmage.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Quarters.
We're going to play 4 quarters. Good hustle by young Mr. Fritz.
If you watch the Blackhawks this year, you'll also notice that Colin prides himself on his shoe game. He will always have the freshest kicks on the court. I'm not sure what he's got tonight.
The other thing too that, and not just for Colin, but for a lot of these juniors, sophomores, I mean, typically the transition period from spring, the end of the season, spring to the winter, a lot of those kids will be taking a step up in their fall sports, but there's always, with the exception of 2020, a summer league.
Right.
So, the kids like Caleb and Clay took a step up and played at the end of the first quarter. They took a step up and they played in a league, that kind of prepared themselves for that step from the C squad ball to JV. The sophomores would get that preparation. The kids that weren't necessarily varsity players the year prior are going to go play, in a varsity league somewhere. That didn't happen. I mean, I don't have to point that out to parents and players, but that transition is really where you start to not necessarily see what's going to happen in the winter, but see who's progressed the most from March to July.
Yeah, just introduces a different speed, different physicality.
Well, and gives you an opportunity to play with the kids that you're going to play with in the winter. And so, in our case, we return 3 guys that played a ton of varsity last year, and Dylan and Keegan and Cam. And we had other guys that got minutes. Caleb got in a little bit. Sam played a little bit. Clay got, we're talking minutes here. We're not talking long, sustained games. Part of that is just the nature of having over a half dozen seniors that graduated. So for a number of these kids, and with 1 week of practice, that it's going to take some time to gel with your teammates, in addition to running a completely different offense. So there's going to be more emphasis on certain things that weren't necessarily emphasized last year, in addition to having to play with a bunch of new dudes. So I think that's going to be certainly something that will take some time. There's a lot of teams in our conference. Somerset loses Trey Madden, or Ty Madden,
the older cook,
But other than that, they return almost all of their core. New Richmond loses some significant players,
absolutely,
but also brings back CJ Campbell, who's going to be phenomenal, and a couple other will-be seniors and juniors that were good players last year. Central returns not Kopaz, but pretty much everybody else, right?
Everybody else, yeah.
And so there's just a lot of they're not going to get an opportunity to play. A lot of groups have played together a ton. Now, that's not to say that these juniors, which we have quite a few of, didn't play a lot, 7th and 8th grade, played together a lot. But just that time, it might take a little bit longer to gel and get used to each other, all while learning a new system. So, get there. Good entry, good basket there by Luck. So just some things to think about. I think the first game is not till later next week. I know the schedule's changed so much I can't even keep up with it. So there's just going to be things that will require some patience on a lot of people's parts. That's about what I have to say about that, Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I'm super excited to watch is this class of juniors kind of get reunited. Obviously, they play together in other sports, but Cam and Keegan, at least in basketball, they took a step up to the varsity level and a JV level as freshmen and then sophomores that some of their buddies didn't quite make, and it's going to be. I can't wait to see kind of that class. That class has had a ton of success together. They love playing with each other. I'm pumped to see them play together and compete together because. Yeah, like they really have. I remember I coached a summer league when they were going into their sophomore year. Where they got to play in a JV league, and Cam and Keegan were kind of maybe a step above that competition, but it was just fun seeing 5-6 dudes that have played a lot of basketball together play together. That's a good move by Dylan. Just goes in and out there.
Yeah, so you had Clay, you had Caleb, you had Sam.
Cam, and then Wyatt Larson as well.
And so Wyatt.
I think it was 6. I feel like one more. I'm not sure.
I think Jordan Myers played with you a little bit.
Yep,
Jordan's doesn't appear to be playing this year. This is Wyatt Jensen. Wyatt Jensen? Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Good move. That's going to be something that we'll certainly see a lot more of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan down on the block. It wasn't really emphasized in that position because we had Hunter and we had Thomas and we had Zach, and really let Dylan kind of float around and just look for that outside shot. He did a much better job last year getting to the rack, getting to the free throw line. This year it's going to be a little bit different because teams are going to focus on him offensively, understand that he can knock those shots down. So now really taking, that's going to be maybe a nightly thing where if he's got size, he'll take a guy down the post. If he's guarded by a quicker or a bigger guy, he take him on the perimeter.
Right.
And he'll get comfortable on the block.
Absolutely. And Dylan's by no means ever been a thick kid, but he does look different. I would argue that this year it does show. His work in the weight room does show. And that would be 3 on Cam.
If we were playing
if we were keeping score. Obviously that's not the situation, so it's not essential, but
you don't want to get in the habit of committing fouls. We saw that last night, just getting in foul trouble with the girls early. I mean, we had 3 or 4 girls with multiple fouls in the first half.
That's an excellent pass by Cam.
Yeah, very good. Good vision.
Beautiful find.
So the 5 out right now, Keegan, Cam, Caleb, Dylan, and Colin. So similar to the 4 out of the 5 are the same group that started the first quarter.
Another great pass, another great transition bucket for the Hawks.
7 on the bench, so we'll have 12 in here right now.
Hawks are running the floor early. Watching Keegan defend here. Keegan's another kid that whatever gym he walks into this year will expect to be able to guard anybody.
Yep.
And he should.
Yep.
Plays extremely hard. He's worked extremely hard. It's going to be fun watching him.
The thing that's going to be fun for us to watch with Keegan is we get up.
Good board, Caleb. Little set shot. Do it again.
Oh. Is seeing how he reacts because he does, like you mentioned, he does work so hard.
Right.
But wearing a mask.
Right.
Like he's going to get gassed at some point, and you're not going to be able to tell completely because he's going to have that mask on.
Right.
But he's not going to want to come out under any circumstance.
Right.
So
loves to play.
Yeah, he's just going to stay in the game. So right now we have Sam, Caleb, Keegan, Eli Coonan, Logan Feedy.
Kept that pivot foot down.
The trend at Luck is obviously you don't cut your hair.
Right.
So there's a lot more flow going on, except for their coach. Here we go, Keegan.
Getting to the rack. I'm not sure. Maybe the comment section can help us out. How far Eli is removed from his cast? How long he's had that cast on?
So I asked Brandon, and he said multiple weeks.
Oh, okay.
I thought he said 3 weeks.
Well, then that's awesome.
Because that was, I'm like, when did he get cleared to play? He's like, yeah, he's been out of his cast for a few weeks.
I think I saw him wearing, must have been a brace during practice.
Yeah. So we're talking about number 41, Eli Coonan. Football deal. Was in a cast in his arm. And Eli just keeps getting bigger and stronger, and you could tell even by that. I'm not sure how close Ambrose was there, but long arms.
Yeah, and he loves basketball. play it all day.
Let's go, Sam.
Feet shuffled there. But yeah, Eli, he's a competitor. He helped us out a ton on the football field when he was healthy.
Good feet. Can't do that. Can you do that?
I don't think you can throw the ball up and go get it.
I mean, maybe he had his dribble. I guess I wasn't. If he didn't have the dribble, that's definitely not legal.
Now is our rules expert tuned in tonight? We're not sure.
He's probably officiating.
It's true. Shout out to Mr. Pack. Isaiah sitting down playing some defense.
Way to stay straight up. And that's, I mean, I think one of the things that, you want to contest every basket, sure, but at some point, except for tonight, the score's not going to end up 0-0. Teams are going to score baskets, so get your arms up, stay straight up, make them make a shot,
right,
over you or around you, but don't bail them out.
Right. I mean, that's where Eli did a good job there, because Eli,
absolutely,
him, other guys staying out of foul trouble. That's obviously always a huge goal.
But just make them make a tough basket. Absolutely. If they get 2 points, fine, and then we'll move on and we'll play offense. But trying to stop the team from making a high percent like that. Right. He doesn't need to come down hard. Just make him make a tough shot, and if he doesn't, then we get the rebound. But teams are going to score baskets, especially close to the hoop. What are we going to do, Isaiah? See the move. Goes into traffic there and got close. He played more on the perimeter for you last year.
Yeah, he struggled with injuries as well.
He had that knee starting off the year and just
kind of never really went away completely.
Oh, so apparently Brandon has no idea what he's talking about because Eli's cast came off yesterday. So I don't know. Maybe Brandon was thinking about the wrong kid. Because I was like, I can't imagine that happened a long time. That too far ago.
Right.
It's the end of the second stanza here. So maybe he was cleared to return to running. Right. I don't know.
He said he got it up yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah, he was practicing, so he must have had his cast done. Last year, the Hawks made the trip up to Luck for was that the first game of the year? Or was that after Falls?
I think it was our second game of the year.
And was not a pretty contest by any means.
No.
A lot of ugly basketball.
It was definitely Luck's first game because they had come off the longer football season.
Right. They had just won an 8-man state championship. I believe they did not make a 3-point shot.
0 for 20.
Hawks pulled it out. Obviously, Luck went on to have a very successful season.
Yeah, they were 0 for 20. I think it ended up like 43-29, but it was.
Yeah. Yep.
It was close throughout. I mean, it was in the teens at half.
Yeah, I mean, what they lacked that night in shooting, they always made up for in athleticism and in strength. I mean, Gage Johansson, I think he averaged almost 13 rebounds a game last year, and he would play the one sometimes. I mean, he was a wing.
Late in the year, he had games where it was like 18, 16, and 12.
Right.
Which is it's hard to do unless, you're really good.
Yeah, he's fun to watch. And there are going to be a lot of players in the middle border this year and in other surrounding schools that are going to be fun to watch. I mean, you talk about River Falls, they got 3 scholarship athletes in the Doherty twins and Zach Johnson. Richmond's got it.
We go to River Falls, I think, in January, end of January, on a Monday night. I don't know that we won't be doing that one, but the Wildcat TV will have that on.
But yeah, Richmond's got obviously CJ. He's gonna be a very good player. Prescott's gonna have they're gonna have dudes. They always do. Ellsworth coming off a very good football season. A lot of those athletes do play basketball. Their quarterback will be one of their main scorers, Mason Anderson.
It's been fun to watch him develop as a. I mean, he started as a freshman against us as kind of a. I mean, he was a bigger but more of a pudgy kid.
Right.
And all he did was stand outside,
make threes.
And he had Flom and Motley and Logan Benson.
Yep.
And his job was to just catch and shoot. And I'm like, he wasn't overly athletic at the time.
Right, at the time, yep.
But now he's become.
Absolutely. I mean, right now he's
6'5".
He's a guy that, people that watch a lot of basketball, they're gonna know about. But I mean, Ellsworth, in the same sense that in football, not a ton of people saw what they did coming. They're a team that absolutely expects to have a lot of fun this winter. And Somerset, another situation, like you said earlier. I mean, Somerset brings a lot back. Ortiz, the Cook kid,
Krybeck,
yep.
So Somerset plays Altoona tonight.
Oh, in a scrimmage or
a real game?
Okay.
That'll be on the Spartan channel. Obviously, we've talked about Altoona a little bit.
Yeah,
not tonight.
You got a relative.
Yeah, my nephew's there, but their best player in the returning conference player of the year, Keyshawn Martin, tore his ACL this summer and isn't playing.
Right.
But
super sad.
With Braden and they have another kid, I think his name's Evan Moss. Altoona's going to be tough. But the thing, going back on Somerset, when the season ended, in the northern part of the region, Prescott had beaten Central.
Mm-hmm.
Central makes a bunch of shots against us, and then plays Prescott at Somerset and misses all the shots.
Right.
But the game before that, Prescott played Somerset at Prescott. And that was a heck of a game.
Very good game. I mean, we were there, and I mean, Somerset believed they were going to win the game,
and they
the
had
whole game, and it was back and forth.
Yeah, it was fun. And like we mentioned, they lose Madden, they lose Mason Cook.
Yep.
But Jackson Cook is a good player.
Absolutely.
Medina Ortiz is a very good point guard.
And that team plays with an edge. They play with a confidence that sometimes it can bite teams in the butt, but
arguably that edge.
At times, yeah. I mean, if you were at the game at their place last year, it helped the Blackhawks. But
yeah, I mean, we shot the lights out in the first half, right? I mean, we had over 40.
Yep.
And then they come out in the second half and played really well. And I don't know if I believe they took the lead. And then Krybeck, I mean, he gets teed up.
Right.
We make our free throws. Their whole bench and players on the floor are in disarray.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if they can bottle that up,
right? Yeah,
they're going to be tough. So I mean, we haven't talked about Amory. I anticipate Amory struggling a little bit. They lose a couple kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then Osceola will be a little bit better. You and I have talked about that probably more than we really need to, but they lose the Maxon kid.
Mm-hmm.
They lose their point guard.
Mm-hmm.
The foreign exchange student kid is gone, but their JV was tough last year.
Absolutely, and that same JV. So this year's junior class for Osceola, when they were C-teamers, I believe they lost 1 or 2 games. One of them being to this group of juniors. And last year their JV was right up there. So they're going to be inexperienced on the varsity level, but I fully expect them to compete. And we got the third quarter going here,
So yeah, we'll call it the third quarter. We got Cam, Keegan, Dylan, and joined by Colin and Eli. So a little bit different look, a little bit bigger look.
Yep.
So let's see. We got Eli and Keegan playing the 2 the two post spots here.
Eli got nice and deep in that post there. Really using his strength.
So what we're going to see here with this offense is going to be a lot of screens from the top of the key down to the weak side block. And then we're going to have the opposite side of the ball down screening. And then we're going to get a lot of post looks on the ball side. If that's not there, we'll try to screen away for a secondary post look. So it's the old vaunted high-low motion.
Right. You played a little bit of it back in your high school days.
Yeah, we were okay.
Won some games. Conference champions, regional champions.
And boy, Cam.
It's a good shot by Cam.
Yeah, we ran the high-low motion. Finished 19-4, 2002. But I think our primary offense was fast break layups.
Yeah, that was the year, I've told you before, that was the year before I started really watching. I was 7, I believe. Well, I was 7. And the year I started watching was the Zach Campbell,
DK.
Jake Kuzlik, Logan Kimberly, in the old barn gym. And that place, you played in it for 4 years. That place could get fun.
Yep, it was really fun to play in there.
Loud.
And that was, the band was basically on top of you.
Right.
And the stage, the curtains were typically pulled unless you sold out. Then you had to open the stage and put risers on the bleachers.
Right.
Yeah, so we played. My senior year, we played in that gym. How'd play, Colin? We played in front of an open curtain against Osceola to win the conference title, and against New Richmond in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And beat them. We actually then won the regional championship at River Falls when they had just opened that gym.
Oh, wow.
And the bleachers, they had done some figuring wrong. The bleachers didn't make it all the way down to the floor.
Oh, interesting.
So basically, you played on the court, the seats were there, and then 6 feet up, good finish. 6 feet up was where the bleachers started, so it was gated all the way around. It was almost like it was like a prison game. And then played in a packed gym at Somerset in the sectional semis and lost to Spooner.
Right.
Which if you've been in that gym when it's packed, it's pretty amazing.
I've only heard the tall tales. I think I was there. Zach's. When did Schochner play? Was that after Zach?
Well, Somerset joined the conference the next year, and so Schochner and Zach were in the same class.
There was one game I was there where
I'm pretty sure
it was us and in Somerset, and Schochner was going at it, and yeah, that place was loud.
Go get Clay.
Board by Clay.
Clay got a couple shots there, and that Clay rebounds really well.
He does. He's got a great feel for it.
Plays bigger than his height.
That's an excellent job by Eli. Eli getting back in transition, squaring himself up, getting legal guarding position, and then gives his body up.
Yeah, Eli's going to do some big things here. He's just he's still growing,
yep.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
I had him in 3rd grade, and I'd see Dad, and I'm like, holy smokes.
Right.
Let's just keep growing, Eli.
Right. I think he wears a size. Once again, the comments can help, but I think size 16 or 17 shoe.
I could fit my foot in both of my feet in one of his shoes.
Right. Exactly.
But look at his arms. That's the one. He's obviously gotten taller, but I think his arms have grown more than.
Keegan gets up there.
Yeah, he does. Hope he's okay. But that's the type of stuff that Keegan's gonna do cleanly.
Right.
The thing that's gonna be really good for him is he had a really good football season.
Mm-hmm.
And that confidence just carries over.
Absolutely. Yeah, for those of you that watch Keegan play football, to truly understand, this kid was in the top 20 at least at times. Top 15 in tackles
in the state
of Wisconsin. He's a kid that already has, got some college looks. Another kid with some college looks right now is just shot the ball, Dylan Caro. It's a good look by Keegan, but I know Dylan's played a lot of AU ball, and he's visited a lot of schools. And Dylan's a kid that he's a team-first kid through and through. He will never make the selfish play. He's always going to make the best play for the team. And he's got things with his length and his three-point shooting ability that are hard to find. Dylan relocating there. It's a tough shot.
Yep.
Lefty kind of runner half hook there by Dylan.
Well, that shot, if you can make it at a decent clip, is going to be nearly impossible to defend.
Yeah, it's pretty much impossible to guard.
He's 6'5".
Right.
And his arms are go-go gadget arms.
Right, long arms. Yeah.
Wyatt Larson misses us, and he's watching. He didn't say that. He just says we sound great.
I'm glad that we sound great.
I think he tuned in to listen to your voice. He got to hear it all fall.
Oh, my word. Yeah, Wyatt, I mean, that kid threw, was it 2 or 3 touchdowns with a broken back this year. If anybody here knows Wyatt Larson, he's a tough kid. I coached him in basketball for a couple of years. He loved to shoot the three. He loved to shoot the three.
Well, I was at Luck last year. What did he make, like 7 or 8 of them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But, no, Wyatt's he's a fighter. He battled back in record time from a knee injury last winter that allowed him to pretty much play
the whole season.
Which is, I mean, quite literally miraculous.
Yep.
Not a miracle though, because it was simply him putting in the work.
Turnover there, Luck. Good D.
Yep. Logan Feedy with some
good ball pressure.
Good pressure. Logan Feedy this year with the hairdo I have not seen on him, but hey, he's rocking it. Great look by Logan. It's a great kind of slip down to the post by Caleb. Caleb, the Lone Ranger with the blue mask tonight.
Well, there's 2 20s, so he made make sure. There we go.
And there he goes. He's going to go up strong. Oh.
I think
Sam Hush is there.
He took off just a little bit too far away from the hoop.
Right.
Sam for 3. He did his fair share of those for you last year.
Absolutely. He made what would have been a game winner against Ellsworth.
And then what happened?
And then they threw the ball a very long ways.
They threw it from the bottom corner to the opposite corner.
And then proceeded to
hit a 3
spin in the air and throw the ball at the basket. And more power to him.
If anybody was at that game and they remember that, it was heartbreaking at the time.
I think about it probably once a week. So
Coach Lehman just told me, what night was that? Monday night?
Yeah.
Monday night, that he brings it up unprompted, that he sometimes thinks about it when he lays in bed at night.
Yeah, I just kind of yeah, it's a learning moment for a young, kind of dumb coach. Very, very good learning moment for me.
See, and that's one of those things that, because as Luck shoots free throws, the varsity teams are ready to run out. Game goes into overtime, right?
It was actually just a long.
That was regulation?
Yeah, it was regulation. It was just a long kind of last 5-6 minutes.
So right in front of where Ellsworth is going to run out.
Good look by Sam Hush. Another 3.
It was awful, as a parent just comments. But the thing that makes it something that we can laugh about is that we came into practice the next day, and we took turns with players trying to make that throw.
Yeah, it's not easy.
And catch, and nobody could do it. Right. And so the amount of luck that went into that play.
Yeah, I definitely pushed my chips in the middle with them making that pass.
It would never happen again.
Yeah, but it did.
It did happen that one time. But that's why you can just you can kind of say, hey, you tip your hat when something like that happens. It's hard to, for me anyway, it's hard to really dwell on it, because it's like we did everything we possibly could, and they got super lucky, and then here you are a year later, not sleeping over it still.
Right.
Okay, we got some. Sean Van Zomeren is in the game here.
He must have came over from the other gym.
Jen Lacker says her heart hurts when we talk about it, so we need to stop.
Right. Don't worry, Jen. I am on the same page.
You can commiserate.
So Sean Van, if you're a football fan, you watched him run by people this year.
Yeah, he had a really good season
on the JV football field. Played some at the end for varsity. Basketball-wise, I haven't watched him play a ton except for in some practice last year. But he's a kid that playing with him and watching him in open gyms, he's absolutely got ability.
Yep, I think what happened with Sean, because he dealt with some injury stuff last year, but also is a good example of a kid that just gets really tall really quickly.
Right.
And then has to figure out how your body works.
Right.
And that's how it looked last year as a football player and as a basketball player. This year as a football player, it looked like, oh, look at him. And I think we're going to get to see more of that this winter too.
Yeah, working Sam Hush here, who kind of got under the ball there. Doing some summer workouts. Once we were able to this year, watching Sean run, we would just do 400-meter sprints, and it would just be like, who is that? Okay, and Sean Van Someren in front of the pack by 40 meters. Like he's a fast dude.
So is he gonna run a 400? Is he gonna run track?
I think he's a baseball kid.
It's hard to fault a kid for playing baseball.
Right. I mean, back in your day, four-sport athlete was not abnormal.
I mean,
the great Tommy Thompson, the great Logan Kimberly, both tennis conference champions.
And then went to state and played baseball as juniors.
And
their junior
your brother and Borowitz. I believe the Borowitzes and the Howards. I mean,
yeah.
Was it Justin or Jordan that played tailback? That was
Justin Howard. Justin Howard, Logan Feedy are cousins. Justin Howard, in my mind, and I love Riley Anderson, and I tell Riley Anderson that when I see him. But Justin Howard was the best running back that I've ever got to watch at the school. I mean, I may be biased because I played with him. But yeah, he was. And did you know that Justin Howard, as a senior, shot over 50% from three?
I mean, that's rare.
After breaking his wrist playing football that year. Right wrist.
And then he
takes the cast off, 50%.
Proceeded to go to state for, I believe, his 4th out of 4 years in tennis. His youngest brother, Tyler Howard, the best male tennis player this school I've ever seen. He placed at state twice. Under the great Jim Rumpel.
So we brought in some guys from the other gym, it appears.
Yep.
In addition to Sean. Looks like Mason Werner. And
Cal.
Is that Cal?
Cal Smith.
Cal Smith.
I'm sure they're excited.
Probably nervous. While you wait here for the last period to start, if you happen to be watching and you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, if you hit that subscribe button, that does help us out from a what we can do perspective. When we get to 1,000, we can do some things differently. Typically, about 75% of the people that are watching are not subscribers. So if we can up that number just a little bit, costs nothing. You can set it to notify you when events start, which is nice. If you get busy and you think, yeah, I'm going to watch that game tonight, and then you start watching the latest episode of Bachelorette or something,
right?
Which I believe is on tonight. Then you can. Oh yeah, my phone just went off. I should watch the Blackhawk boys basketball team, or girls, or wrestling, or whatever. So, otherwise, if you just want to help us and you don't want to subscribe, you can subscribe and turn off notifications.
Right.
So you can watch The Bachelorette uninterrupted.
Or just more football film if you're Coach Kiefer.
Yep. Speaking of football, for the first time ever, I believe, the NFL is having a Wednesday afternoon game tomorrow.
Right. I mean, in a year of what this year has been, I mean, nothing is. So the only day of the week they haven't had one on Friday, right? That would be the last, or Saturday. They probably haven't had a Saturday.
No, but
game
they
yet.
will have a Friday night game on Christmas and Saturday games at the end of the year.
So they will play on every day of the week. What was you told me earlier this fall that every major sport was playing on the same night.
Yeah, for the first time in the history of the world. It was when hockey and basketball hadn't finished and football already started. And baseball was still playing?
Right. Yep. Great pressure there.
So right now the 10 in are sophomore Mason Werner, freshman Colin Fritz, freshman Cal Smith, sophomore Eli Kuhn, sophomore Sean Zorman.
For those watching, this is probably going to be a lineup that you should get used to. Obviously, the juniors and seniors, they're gonna do their deal for the next 2 years. But these 5 here for the next 3 years at least, and then obviously Cal and Colin for the next 4. They're gonna play a ton of ball on this floor, ton.
And we're gonna have one of our taller. I mean, assuming that Eli and Sean continue to grow. We might have taller kids than we've seen in a long time. I mean, obviously we had Ani and Idris together.
One thing I got to comment on is how hard Colin Fritz is playing. I mean, he's been on the ground.
That's what he does.
For at least, I haven't watched him play extensively. I watched him a couple times last year at traveling tournaments, but he's playing his butt off on the ground. This little curl there.
Go get it, Sean.
Mason Werner's another kid that, I mean, he stepped in and played some varsity quarterback this fall. Mason's mature beyond his years.
It's because of his mother. We determined that during the football season.
Another rules expert for us this year may be his father, Mr. Werner. But no, Mace, I can't say enough about his toughness. Cal Smith, another kid. Looks like that was deflected.
Yeah, Cal stepped in and had a nice little night against Altoona.
Yep, played some varsity football.
Scored a couple touchdowns. This is a step up. Like I mentioned, though, a lot of these guys get an opportunity. We'd have been able to throw a good D by Colin. I didn't get him for a foul, but it's good effort. Colin and Cal would have gotten an opportunity in some capacity to play summer league.
Right.
Whether that's a lot against sophomores or juniors or seniors or whatever the winter summer tournament would be, and they just didn't have it. So
right.
This is a step up just from a competitive standpoint because of things that didn't happen this summer.
Right.
And they don't look overwhelmed, which is fantastic.
For those watching too, another thing to keep in mind is Colin Fritz right now is guarding a senior who has played in, over 60 varsity basketball games. And this would be Colin's first real varsity experience, and he's getting up there in 15, and that's a senior, Carson Ely's.
And he wants to make him look silly, and he's not doing it.
Right. Good board, good box out, and a good board.
Work by Eli. Yeah, just do the little things like that. Where it doesn't take unnatural athleticism, doesn't take unnatural strength, doesn't take any talent. It just takes a little bit of effort.
And that's something that Eli, another kid that I've seen play in open gyms, and he does it in every situation he plays basketball. He does the little things right. He posts up, he gets deep in the post, he boxes out, sets great screens.
Eli got some JV minutes last year.
Yep.
Played actually really well at Spooner.
Good look by Sean.
But what we wanted to do was keep him and Mason and Sean playing together as much as possible.
Yeah, and I think that was accomplished. They played pretty much the entire season together.
So Clay is in for Colin. I believe Clay's first year basketball was 8th grade.
Something like that.
So he's still learning.
Good move by Eli. That was perfect.
Phenomenal.
40 for luck gave him the lane, and he took it.
But yeah, just watching Clay get so much better year after year.
So much fun. And Clay is a kid that he's quiet. He seems like he'd be a quiet kid, but he's tough.
That's a foul.
Yeah, that would be a foul.
We heard the slap. If there'd have been fans in the stands,
right,
officials would have got to hear it.
But no, Clay does everything you ask him to do, every single thing. And I'm assuming it's that way in baseball as well. In the football field, same way. This year, 3rd or 4th day of fall camp, one of our one of our better old linemen, Big Benny Afalter. Shout out to Ben Afalter, goes down with a knee injury, and Clay has to go from receiver to O tackle, and he does so
admirably.
He does so without a complaint, and he ends up. I mean,
he was
awesome.
I mean, he was really good on offense. He was phenomenal on defense.
Absolutely.
Like that was to me. Get up there. Good block by 40. Clay defensively was what I was most impressed with from a defensive standpoint, as far as just expectations versus what he did. Like,
absolutely
forcing fumbles, chasing guys down.
And I mean, offensively, he went from playing a position that he's very good at receiver to
he's got great hands. Literally
learning about the 3-point stance, learning about different types of blocks. Ooh, a little bit more elevation on that one.
Yeah, we're gonna give Eli some time because he's working back from an injury.
Right.
I mean, hey, take your cast off, go play. Like
right.
That's. Sean jumps high.
He does. He is a kid that I know. I'm pretty sure I'm right when I say that he really loves baseball. But he's a kid that, if he was on a track team, I mean, there's not an event that he couldn't do. I mean, he might even be able to
pole vault.
He might be able to throw the discus around.
He's not your ideal pole vaulter, so I was going to throw that out there at you.
Shot put. Ooh, a little floater by Cal Smith.
Nice job,
freshman.
Cal.
Just elevates. Cal tries to emulate his game of one Damian Lillard.
Did he tell you that?
Absolutely. I mean, he wears the jersey almost every day.
Does he rap as well as as Dame?
That may be the first thing we have to ask him. Straight up here, Eli.
But that's just, I mean, for a kid getting his first varsity reps,
right,
and doing that as well as he has been very impressive.
Right, you're going to see a lot of sophomores come down. Well, I mean, you're going to
see a lot of everybody.
You're going to see a lot of high school players come
down. Good bucket
down
there by Clay.
And slap, try to block it, try to get the big time block, and then they commit a foul.
And they
framed to take a charge.
Yep.
He gets it. Good look by Mason. Good left-handed finish.
And that's one thing that Cal and Colin and when they were playing travel ball, that group just wanted to turn things into a track meet. So we'll see a lot of that. I'm gonna talk to Cal about his hair, though. He can't be flopping his hair like that without a headband. I feel like Colin will take him under his wing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Colin told me that he was scheduled for a haircut once football was over, but I think, my opinion does not matter. But if he could just keep that thing going and then eventually start to just throw back, and then same thing with Cal.
So what you're advocating is that our guys turn into a
so essentially consult the Cardinals. Get Wyatt Jensen's advice.
Ambrose, can you get in on these haircuts that they have? Just the length of hair.
It's like hockey.
Yeah, that's hockey hair. Yeah, but get some close-ups. I don't know if
we've got Carson Ely kind of with the top, the shaggy top, probably shorter on the sides. We've got a pony, a top pony for 13. Wyatt Jensen and his stunt double to his left.
I assumed they were twins when they walked in, but they're not.
They're both just letting it go with the headband.
And then we have a couple clean-cut guys.
Right. And you need that.
Yeah, Logan and Isaiah maybe are the only ones with comparable hair.
Ian Peterson on the court.
Yep.
35, senior.
One thing we're going to provide you with this year on Blackhawk TV is talking about shoes and hair, apparently.
Yeah, and unapologetically, because these kids care about it. They love it.
I didn't tell you that Saturday morning I made a purchase.
Did you?
New Jordan 4s dropped.
Okay. Straight up here, Mace.
They're supposed to show up.
There was one.
Attaboy, Clay.
There was one time where you were real excited about a pair of shoes, and
yeah,
I think
Jordan 11s.
I think a family member opened them up. Is that true?
My Air Forces, remember?
Sean elevates off the glass.
oh yeah, I feel like I did, and then someone was like, hey Dad, your shoes are here.
And they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Inside out.
I don't know if there's shoe people out there, but you get to open your own shoes.
I think that's a given. Ian takes it there. Finds me.
Fortunately, my daughter's into shoes as much as her dad, so.
Right. Ooh, Sean had the pin.
There, that's the caliber we're gonna see. A lot of it's not really a jump shot; it's a set shot.
Right.
But he releases it up higher.
He's got a smooth release.
Yeah, he's good at it.
Clay kind of with the backside reach there. If one Robbie Crowley is out there listening, that was Robbie's. One of his go-tos was, let me see if I can pick the pocket.
With his bionic hands, so that's the thing that Robbie had that most people don't, is steel reinforcements in both hands.
Right,
fingers.
And you can ask Sam Benoit for that story.
Yeah, that was a fun day.
Not for Robbie.
Well, no, it wasn't a fun day. It was oozing in sarcasm.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he sheepishly comes up to me and puts his hand out, and it's like, oh, Robbie. And was that the year before the finger, or was that right after the finger?
No, he broke his finger
in football.
Missed probably a third of the season, and then came back and hurt it in basketball at practice. That's what we'll say.
So you get down screen and a post. He's going to vacate. We're going to get a new post.
Oof.
And that's something that, these guys are. We did have high low in. That must have been maybe Dylan's freshman year.
Yeah. Yeah.
But didn't really love it from a personnel standpoint. So we didn't have it in the last couple of years.
Yep. Clay, a lot of triangle.
Which really has a lot of the same elements, more options, a little more complex, but approaching things at different angles. I mean, obviously, ball side block is going to be a thing in all offenses. Turnover there to end it, and a three from distance. But yeah, we're going to see. I think they're going to do. Coach Benoit lobbied for one more period. Coach Ely says, "Nah, man, we can get on the bus."
All right. But yeah, I mean, a lot of fun things to see tonight. A lot of encouraging things to see. I mean, obviously we've been joking around a little bit, talking about shoes and hair, but objectively speaking, the Hawks have some things here that are absolutely have the potential to compete at a high level. A lot of youth, but three of the top 5 scorers returning.
Yep.
And in Keegan, Cam, and Dylan, and they're gonna get coached hard. They're gonna get coached well, and it's gonna be fun to see dudes step up.
Yeah, and that's the big question as we embark on game 1. Right? How many guys are going to play?
Right.
My thing that, and I know people didn't always love it, I played more guys.
Absolutely. Yeah.
10, sometimes 11, pretty regular minutes. From in my opinion, a standpoint where guys didn't separate themselves one way or the other, where, and I had players tell me that, like, hey, I think you're playing too many guys, and it's like, well, are you the guy that wants to sacrifice your minutes? Well, no.
Right.
It's like, okay, that makes it more difficult. Here we have, we got to figure out who fits into that category, and I think that's why we saw Coach Benoit use,
so many
guys, is just to see. Last night I kind of was wondering how the girls would approach it, and it was the opposite of what I thought we'd see, where he only used 7.
Right.
Where it wasn't like, with masks, we're going to limit minutes, we're going to see more girls, we're going to see who fits.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that works well, because you're not going to destroy anybody's confidence.
Mm-hmm.
from that perspective. So that's one way to do it, where maybe Coach Benoit says, okay, I got my top 7. Typically when in his first go around, he liked to play 8.
Sure.
Sometimes 9, but usually he would settle on 8. Is he gonna settle on 8 and go with that, or is he gonna have more and see what guys fit in? And I think there was guys certainly that had good showings, made their case tonight. But one thing that I would like to remind everybody, what you saw on the screen tonight, what we saw up here, is a small fraction of what has gone on in practice.
Absolutely.
And so maybe we saw somebody out here not have a great night after having 5 really good practices, right? Or maybe we saw a guy out here have a really good night after dogging it for 5 days in practice.
Right.
And so what we saw here was a small fraction of what Coach Benoit's seen, what Coach Ashland's seen, what Coach Carroll's seen, what Coach Lance has seen with helping. So, that's one of the things with the scrimmage. This is the first opportunity to see that group, a great group of kids. But we don't know what we've missed. We don't know necessarily what he's looking for. There's going to be more of an emphasis on post play. I think that's a fair statement to make. Is he gonna rotate guys through? I look at someone like Keegan. He could certainly be one of those post players. He could certainly be a wing player. Thinking back to how he's handled groups before. My senior year, we had 4 guys that started every game, and then we had 2 guys that really, one of them started based on the matchup, because we had a guy in Zach Campbell who was not too different than Keegan, where he could guard dudes in the post because he was our best defender. Zach was, one of the best defenders in this part of the state. He could guard guys in the post. He could also guard guys out on the perimeter. And so if their best player was a post player, then we typically, Zach would play post. We'd have Blake play on the wing. If their best player was a perimeter player, Zach would guard the wing. We'd have Kuzi in the post. And so, that could be something that we see, where maybe we go, maybe Keegan guards Mason Anderson. And depending on how they use him, I watching Keegan guard Jack Janke last night, I think, Jack probably didn't sleep well thinking about those things.
Yeah, last year.
Football season probably helped Jack
one thing
a little bit there, but go ahead.
Well, one player we haven't touched on. There's a team. There's a team in Prescott that they have a tendency to win games. They believe that they will win this conference every year, and rightfully so. They haven't lost it outright in a while, and they're one of the most well-coached teams I've ever watched. And they've got a kid in Malmloff that
little guy.
I don't necessarily think I can think of a shooter that was at that level as a freshman that I've watched here. Just watching high school basketball around here, last year me and Nygaard watched him play 3 times. Obviously twice against us, and then against Somerset at their place in the regionals, and
he went absolutely bonkers.
They had a legit prospect in Parker Nielsen, who was averaging a bunch of points. Another legit prospect in Doffing, and then also Holty, a role player, great player, and other dudes. But this freshman, Malmlov, his older brother was their point guard, but then this freshman, I think it's Jordan Malmlov, he comes in and he had 20 plus
at the first half against Somerset.
Yeah,
21.
This conference is going to be. There's going to be a lot of good basketball. There are, I would say, 3 teams, if not 4 teams, that believe right now, absolutely believe that they are.
There's 4 teams
capable of winning this conference, and then also winning regionals, and then also winning sectionals. Somerset, New Richmond, Prescott, Central, and this is not to say for anybody listening that our boys should not absolutely strive for that. It's just that the return. You cannot argue that the return experience. I mean, St. Croix Central is returning all conference. I mean, Gabe Seiler,
Kelson Klin,
Mr. Pettit, Mr. Hinsman,
and Hackbarth.
Right, and so this is just to say that this is going to be a fun conference to watch. I mean, I am so excited to watch this conference. I'm so excited to watch our kids, but also just great basketball.
Yeah. I mean, we lost arguably the two most skilled basketball players that we've had in our conference. I mean, to have two guys in the conference at the same time,
right?
In Parker Nielsen and Joey Kidder.
Yeah.
But still have all of these other guys come back.
Absolutely. I mean, and Joey Kidder. Being one of the better athletes to come out of the middle border, I would argue that.
Yeah, so he's playing college football, right?
Yes, at Bethel. So he had a bunch of D2 offers. He could have. I'm sure he got looked at for basketball as well. But he's at Bethel.
And Parker's at West Texas A&M.
West Texas A&M. Yeah. And you were commenting on their roster. Nobody over 6'6". West Texas A&M.
Yeah, and they're top 10.
Yep.
They're a top 10 D2 school.
Yep.
Then their tallest guy's 6'6", and they're all listed at guard on their program. So, Coach Benoit is releasing the troops here tonight. So we're going to sign off. Thanks again for joining us. Obviously, all of you probably would have preferred to be here. And I can assure you that the players, the coaches, everybody would prefer that you could be here too, but out of an abundance of caution and safety, this is the best we're going to be able to do. As I mentioned before, we're gonna broadcast as much as we can here on Blackhawk TV. It'll be a lot of home games just because being in gyms is not super easy with getting enough reception or connection to live stream. So one place that we know that we've had success is at Ellsworth. So we're going to go there. We're going to do wrestling on Thursday. You're not going to get to listen to me talk about wrestling because I know absolutely nothing about it. I have watched a lot of WWE since March because sports went away. Jeremy doesn't handle not having sports well, and he has got a 5-year-old that loves it. But I don't think it's the same sort of wrestling.
Right.
High school wrestling is much more real.
Right. Yep.
And so we're going to do that Thursday. We're going to do girls basketball Friday, and then we're just going to see how the cards fall here over the course of the next couple weeks. Games are getting moved. There is a link if you go on our Facebook page and scroll down. There's a link to what says like winter broadcast schedule, and I update that as dates change. Mr. Sell doesn't always let me know, but I look about once a week and then I'll update that schedule. There's also, and I'll just mention this quickly, if you scroll down you'll see there's a fundraising drive for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. One of my former teammates, former Blackhawk, TJ Helgeson, passed away due to a blood cancer about three and a half years ago. And so his birthday is coming up. He would be 37 on the 9th. So the drive's going to go through the 9th. You can read more about that on the Facebook page, but if you're in a position to give or would like to give and support that cause, you can certainly do that. There's directions on the Facebook page. Beyond that, we'll see what happens. I don't know offhand when the boys' first game that we'll have here will be. Do you know what their first game is? We talked about this the other night.
Their first game is scheduled to be St. Croix Central at St. Croix Central next Thursday.
Okay, and that game will be broadcast on the St. Croix Central live stream. So they have it's their school page. They broadcast a whole bunch of things on there. They'll do that game. Their crew is led by Brian Millar, who really helped me get a lot of this stuff set up. So we can work well together with a rival. But you'll catch that one on there, and we'll do most of our home games, and we'll just kind of see what happens. So, the goal is to give you as much Blackhawk athletics as we possibly can. Hope that you enjoy it. We'll be back Thursday night from the Ellsworth Gym, trying to end what Dave Ramberg tells me is the longest wrestling streak of wins, conference wins, like in Wisconsin history. and it just might happen Thursday. So tune in on Thursday night. We'll start the feed at about 7, and we'll go from there, and then we'll be back Friday night for girls basketball. So thanks again for joining us. Hope you have a wonderful night. I'm Jeremy Nygaard signing off with Zach Ambrose and Jordan Lehman. Have a great Tuesday, and we will see you soon.